Manchester Derby is easily one of the biggest derbies in world football. There's just so much history between both clubs, and a lot has happened between them. You're about to hear some cool stuff you probably didn't know about the Manchester Derby, and where better to start than their head-to-head record? Well, considering Manchester United have a bigger history than their rivals, you would probably not be surprised to hear that they have the better head-to-head record. In their history, as of the start of the 2023-24 season, both teams have met 190 times in competitive games. And Manchester United have an edge, winning 78 times compared to City's 53 wins, with the remaining 59 games ending in draws. Naturally, Man City appears to have the advantage and have been marginally superior to their neighbors in recent years. It isn't comparable to United's supremacy over them from 1990 to 2002, though. Yes, United outperformed their competitors for a continuous 12 years. Unbelievably, during that time, United won every one of the 16 Manchester derbies that were played. Yes, you are correct. In 16 games, City failed to defeat United. That time span retains the record for the longest unbeaten stretch in Manchester Derby history, as you undoubtedly already know. And let's be real, it's going to be pretty difficult for any of the two clubs to have that level of dominance over the other again, because even despite City's league dominance over the past 10 years, Manchester United keep finding ways to get wins over them. Of course, those wins for United are usually by 1 or 2 goal margins. On the other hand, Manchester City have scored some really huge victories over their neighbors in recent years. Take, for example, the 6-3 win in the league last season where Haaland and Foden got hat tricks. There was also the 4-1 win 2 years ago, but none of those wins compared to that famous 6-1 City win in 2011, which was actually the biggest winning margin by either team in the competitive history of the Derby. And believe it or not, that was not the first time City beat their rivals by that scoreline at Old Trafford. Yep, that's right, they had previously done it way back in 1926. Of course, United once beat City 7-1 in 1941. But it was a non-competitive game, so that one doesn't really count. However, there is one noteworthy aspect of the 1940s. The Manchester Derby, with the highest attendance in history, took place around that time. Yes, that is accurate. You know, Old Trafford sustained some serious bomb damage during World War II, and it was still requiring minor repairs in 1947. That year's Manchester Derby was therefore unable to take place at Old Trafford. Instead, it took place at Main Road, which was shared by both teams at the time, but was mainly City's home stadium. And so, with 78,000 spectators in total, that September 1947 Manchester Derby became the highest attended Manchester Derby in history. It's reasonable to say that Day United didn't feel very at home. However, this man cherished being a Derby man. In fact, he had such a great time during the Derby that he currently owns the record for most goals scored in the Manchester Derby. And you know who that is, right? It's Wayne Rooney then. This guy was simply ecstatic about scoring against Man City. He actually scored more goals against them in the Manchester Derby than players like Bobby Charlton and Sergio Aguero combined. Of course, Rooney spent 13 years at Manchester United mostly playing as an attacker, so it's not much of a surprise that he holds that record. And with the way he enjoyed playing against them, you'd probably think he played in the highest number of Derby games. You are completely incorrect, though. Other players, like as Ryan Giggs, have participated in more Manchester Derby matches than Rooney. Yes, that is accurate. You know, Giggs played in a good number of Manchester Derbies during his 24-year tenure at United. In actuality, he had 36 appearances versus Manchester City. That also holds the record for the most appearances by a single player in this derby, as you might anticipate. A nice fact now. Giggs played his whole senior career at Manchester United, as we all know. But did you know that before joining United, he also attended the Manchester City Academy for 2 years as a youngster? I bet you didn't, though. There are other players who have really played for both clubs' senior teams, unlike Giggs, sure. In actuality, 39 players have represented both clubs. Of those players, just 7, including stars like Andy Cole, Peter Schmeichel, Owen Hargreaves, and Carlos Tevez, were involved with both clubs during the Premier League period. The truth is, you would undoubtedly anticipate tasting defeat in at least one Manchester derby match when you represent both teams. Naturally, that is, unless you go by Peter Schmeichel. Yes, that is accurate. The only player to have played for both Manchester clubs without ever experiencing a loss in a Manchester derby is Schmeichel. It's really cool, huh? When you consider that he participated in 11 Manchester derbies without ever losing, it becomes even more awesome. It did, however, undoubtedly help that he played only one game for City against United in 2002, which ended in a draw, and that 10 of those games were for United during that 16-game winning streak against Manchester City. Of course, Schmeichel was not the last player to have played for both clubs. He was also not the first player to play for both clubs. That's because the first player to play for both Manchester clubs was Bob Millarvey. Now, we've said a lot about guys who played for both clubs, but do you know how many people have coached both clubs? Well, the answer is simple. Just one. Yep, that's right. Only one man has ever coached both teams, and that's James Ernest Mangnall. And it might interest you to know that he was also the first ever coach to win a major silverware for Manchester United. Now that's pretty cool, right? Now that's probably not as cool as this next guy, Matt Busby, the man who played for Manchester City and then coached Manchester United after retirement. And not just that, he also won trophies with both clubs. Matter of fact, he was the first manager to win United the European Cup and is one of the most successful managers in their history. And wait until you hear the next one if you think that's cool. Because this next individual was not only a player for both clubs, he was also a member of their coaching staff. Yes, that is accurate. There has only ever been one individual to accomplish that accomplishment, and his name is Brian Kidd. You would undoubtedly agree that he accomplished something noteworthy even if he was never the head coach of either team. Please let us know in the comments area if you still believe that there is anything more awesome about the Manchester Derby than that. However, good luck defeating that one. Since you probably liked the video, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel to see more awesome videos. Oh, and remember to share as well with your friends. Thank you, and see you later. Goodbye.